the red lionfish, the great hammerhead shark. Two species competing against one another in the Caribbean, trying to outcompete each other. The red lionfish, coming from the Indo-Pacific Oceans, have been able to spread into the Caribbean Sea from human transportation, since they are able to survive in the warming Atlantic waters. According to an interview by Troy Kitch, he interviewed NOAA scientist James Morris, who talked about the topic of invasive lionfish, and more specifically, how humans can help with the lionfish invasion. Scientist James Morris stated, "We've got to work harder and do a better job of informing the public about the impacts of invasive species when talking about the situation regarding the lionfish." The red lionfish are impacting the environment in the Caribbean in many ways. Look at the way this kelp moves in the water. Now, look at the way the lionfish is swaying in the water. As you can see, the lionfish moves similarly to the way the kelp moves, making it hard to recognize by the hammerhead sharks and other predators, allowing them to obtain free camouflage. The red lionfish eat on very similar animals to the hammerhead sharks, such as small fish and other invertebrates, giving the hammerhead sharks less food to eat for themselves. As you can see here in this image, the range of the lionfish has started to spread more across the Caribbean than ever before, and this is due to the amount of reproduction the lionfish are able to produce and recreate with. In another interview, the PRJ staff interviewed a researcher, Abel Valvida, and he stated that lionfish in the Caribbean are here to stay. Unfortunately, we cannot rely on native predators to control their abundance and distribution, expressing that lionfish aren't seen to leave the invasive areas in the near future, and that we need to find a solution to the problem. Now, we're going to take a peek at the species that the red lionfish is indirectly affecting. The endemic species of the Caribbean waters, the great hammerhead shark, which is the largest species of the hammerhead shark, and is hunted often in order to make shark fin soup due to its large fins, making it a critically endangered animal. The great hammerhead shark population has declined 80% in 70 years, going from a population of roughly 1,000 in the 1940s to fewer than 200 in 2023. The great hammerhead shark feeds upon sea animals such as rays, stingrays, sea catfish, squid, crustaceans, and other smaller sharks. They are a case-selective species, which means that they have fewer offspring than the R-selective red lionfish, and they become aggressive when hunting, making humans believe that they are a perceived threat. In this graph, it shows that these great hammerhead sharks live in the warmer waters all over the world, and in the Caribbean, the waters are very warm, prompting them to survive in them. Now, you may be wondering, how do the red lionfish affect the great hammerhead shark population in the Caribbean? Well, let us tell you. In the Caribbean, the red lionfish affects the great hammerhead shark population in four main ways. It eats the food of the great hammerhead shark, it outpopulates the great hammerhead shark, the red lionfish isn't recognized as prey to many species as it is a new animal, and the red lionfish naturally reduces the recruitment of native reef fish by 79%. Point 1. The matter of food. As seen earlier, the red lionfish and the great hammerhead shark both eat very similar food, as they feed on small fish that are easy to catch and thrive on them. The red lionfish interactions in the water with the small fish limit the prey for the hammerhead shark and take away food from their ecosystems. Point 2. The red lionfish outpopulates the great hammerhead shark, leading to it slowly taking over the Caribbean Sea, and the overpopulation of the red lionfish means less food for the great hammerhead shark and other creatures in the sea. Point 3. Since the red lionfish is such a new species into the Caribbean environment, most species of the area haven't even been introduced to the idea that it is food, and it is able to repopulate without being killed and removed from the environment due to this factor. Notice that in this video, every fish is swimming away from the red lionfish since they don't know what they are. Point 4. The red lionfish is a killer species to the Caribbean, as they naturally reduce the recruitment of native reef fish by 79%. Which means that less and less natural animals are residing in their natural habitats, reducing the population of sea creatures and the amount of life in the Caribbean. The red lionfish is just one example of an invasive species, and the great hammerhead shark is the endemic species that is affected by the red lionfish. Now we shall show you a live view of an invasive species tormenting the endemic species in their territories. As you can see in this video representation, there is a group of endemic animals that are residing in their natural habitat, benefiting off of one another in many ways, such as sharing food with one another. And there is a very strong relationship between the species, with everyone being happy and the environment being able to succeed. Although all seems quite well, an invasive species has entered the environment and is looking to take it over. It kicks out an endemic species from their natural habitat, all while also taking the food and disrupting the commensalism between the two species at first. Since the invasive species took over, the other species that benefited from the one removed from the ecosystem can no longer thrive in the environment and are forced to be removed from the area. The species that was kicked from the environment is now lost, not knowing what to do. Scavenging for a new home, he settles in the new area, trying to figure out what to do and how to survive, and most importantly, what to eat. He picks up some food, he figures out he cannot eat it. He knows his life has been ruined. And as for the group that fed off of him, they are also lost, not knowing what to do and what to eat. And as for the invasive species that took over the environment, it is thriving with a lot of food and a lot of land to take over and control without any issues or things within its way. So, what have we learned in this battle of the species? Currently, the red lionfish is winning the battle against the great hammerhead shark, and there's no losing in the near future for the red lionfish in this battle. Thank you so much for watching the battle of the species.